challenges which the government cannot overcome single-handedly. The government cannot remove poverty in the country where more than 20% of world's poor live, where every fourth person is poor. The government alone cannot eradicate malnutrition from a country where every third malnourished child in the world lives. The government alone cannot provide full education to everyone in a country where more than 1/4 of the population is still illiterate, leave aside uneducated. And for sure, the government cannot provide full employment to everyone in a country where more than 1/6 of the world lives. So, all this calls for mind your involvement. But these are Herculean tasks. Friends, we must remember, as someone rightly said, challenges are not something to be worried about. Challenges carry opportunities within themselves, opportunities for progress. Thus, we have zillions of opportunities lying before us. The $64,000 question now is, how do we utilize those opportunities? Where, when, and how do we start? Well, this is the very reason for which this talk on social entrepreneurship has been organized by BSW and NSS jointly. No doubt, the questions are big, but we have bigger personalities to answer them. Friends, we are extremely fortunate to have amongst us some very, very successful social entrepreneurs who have proved their mettle in their respective fields. On behalf of the entire IIT Delhi community, I extend a warm welcome to them all and thank them for having honored us with their invaluable presence. Before the talk starts, I would like to introduce each of the speakers to you. Our first speaker for the evening is Mr. Anup Kaul. Mr. Anup Kaul is a director on board for Basics Academy for Building Lifelong Employability Limited, Mera Power, and Vayam Renewable Limited. He is also the founder member of the Governing Council for CST Forum and Sahulat Microfinance Society. BASIC is a livelihood promotion organization which was established in 1996. This currently has more than 3.5 million customers, with more than 90% of them being from rural households and around 10% from urban slums. This organization currently works across 17 states, around 200 districts, and around 40,000 villages. Welcome, sir. Our next speaker for the evening is Dr. Founder of Sulabh International Social Service Organization. Sulabh works against untouchability and discrimination faced by manual scavengers, a section of Indian society that is condemned to clean and carry human excreta. Dr. Pathak has been a recipient of Padma Bhushan from the Government of India, and his work is considered as one of the pioneers in social reform, especially in the field of health and hygiene. Welcome, sir. The next speaker for the evening is Mr. Arvind Singh. Mr. Arvind Singh is Executive Director of Nidam. Nidam is an organization which creates programs and institutions for the social and economic welfare of the poorest and marginalized sections of Indian society, the informal workers. Nidam creates profitable businesses which are led by workers in the informal sector. Workers which include construction laborers, farmers, domestic helpers, etc. Currently, Nidam works with more than 1 lakh workers in the informal sector and with more than 10,000 children. Welcome, sir. And our fourth speaker for the evening is Abhilasha Sinha. Abhilasha Sinha is the regional manager at Avanti Learning Centers. Avanti Learning Centers is an organization which, by combining technology with peer collaboration, aims to reduce teacher dependency and provide world-class education at affordable rates. This organization has been in contact with over 600 students who belong to low-income families and high school students, by the way. This organization works across 8 cities in collaboration with good quality school systems. Abhilasha has been involved with this organization for several years, prior to working as a regional manager, where now she is coordinating the operations of this organization in North India. She also worked as a curriculum design and development worker in this. So, once again, on behalf of the community, I request you all to give a huge round of applause for all the people we have here. Now I would request Mr. Renu Kaul to present his views on social entrepreneurship.
Student colleagues here who are taking the time off from their hard work to sit here and listen to us. Thank you for your presence here. I'm going to talk today about one of you who 40 years back passed out from IIT Delhi and made a name for himself. His name is Mr. Vijay Mahajan. He was a student of electrical engineer, and this is the organization he created, which I'm going to talk about to you. And I'll split it up into two parts. There'll be one part where I'll give you a very quick idea of the organization, and the second part will be an interview that Mr. Vijay Mahajan gave to NDTV, which I'll be screening on the for you, where you get a sense of the man who passed out 40 years back when he was just 21 years old, and he was wondering what he'll do next in his life. Almost 19 years, moved from microcredit to an inclusive growth vehicle, from a single product to a multiple product company, where they try to meet multiple needs of the people who are not as privileged as all of us. Let me give you a little background of Mr. Vijay Mahajan. He is a distinguished alumnus of IIT Delhi as well as of IIM Ahmedabad. After passing out from here, he joined Philips for 4 years, and then he decided that he should understand more about management and how he could take care of rural India. And he distinguished himself there at IIM Ahmedabad. He was a gold medalist, and he got the Distinguished Alumnus Award there also. He co-founded an organization known as Pradhan. This is stands for Professional Assistance to Development Action, how professionals like you should get into social sector space. And he also has almost fathered 20 other companies. I thought I'll just focus on one or two here. He has been on various committees of the Government of India, the Dr. Raghuram Rajan Committee on Financial Sector Reforms, on Dr. Rangarajan Committee on Financial Inclusion, on Dr. Ms. P.C. Joshi's Committee on National Rural Livelihood Mission, and so on and so forth. He's on various state government bodies also, and he also gave a plan to Mr. Narendra Modi in Gujarat on how to eradicate poverty in Gujarat, which is known, which Mr. Narendra Modi christened it as Mission Mangalam. That was authored by Mr. Vijay Mahajan. He has been going to Davos regularly. 3 times he's already been. Every time they call 20-30 entrepreneurs. They have now a group of 160 entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs who go there. In 2003, they gave him this recognition. And in 2009, they asked him to co-chair a panel discussion on social entrepreneurship at Davos. I'll be giving you a little clip of his interview there at that time in Davos. After IIT Delhi, at the age of 21 in 1975, he joined Philips, as I was telling you. He was taken as a marketing executive, but he was told, you please go and understand what sales is all about. And that's when he discovered the poverty in India. And he then felt that he must come with a solution. He then went to IIM Ahmedabad. He taught there, but he got a lot of inspiration from Professor Ravi Mathai and Professor Ranjit Gupta. And he, when he got his gold medal, he said, the easiest thing now for me would be to become a chairman and managing director of a company. Let me do something where the challenge is much more. And he decided to get into the space of helping the bottom of the pyramid population. And he said, there I want to get in because the chance of success is 1 out of 1,000. It's very rare to have Dr. Pathak and Mr. Singh and Abhilasha working in this space. But there are quite a few who worked in this space and couldn't make it here. So he got into this space to find solutions for the poor, to take care of the multiple needs of the poor. And he immediately after finishing with IIM, he joined an ASIFA, it's an NGO, which is known, stands for Association of Sarva Seva Farms in Bihar. And here he came to understand what are the various issues that affect the poor. And then they decided that they will bring professional management to handle poverty issues. And so they set up an organization known as Pradhan. And this was in partnership with Mr. Dr. Deep Joshi, who's from MIT. It was in the National Advisory Council of Sonia Gandhi just a few months back. So, and for which he got the Magsaysay Award. Our journey in Basics has been from single product like microcredit, giving people money to use it for their economic activity and improve their livelihood income. And then he said, let me bring in some more financial products. So he brought in remittances, he brought in microinsurance, he did some original work on insurance products, then pension products. Then he went to RBI and said, I want to start a bank because you are not allowing me to mobilize deposits and poor people don't know where to save their money. So they gave him a bank license and he set up a bank in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka called the Local Area Bank. It's known as Krishna Bhima Samruddhi Bank. Krishna Bhima, the two rivers there. Then he decided that he will partner banks and he got into financial inclusion. And then he moved on to set up the first skill entity which was funded by the National Skill Development Corporation called Basics Academy for Building Lifelong Employability, BABLE, and so on and so forth. And he started moving from microcredit to inclusive growth. Not going down. Can somebody help me? This is not moving that. Sorry. So in 1996, he started with, I don't know if you can read everything, but he started with microcredit and micro savings and microinsurance and agriculture and livestock development services because 50% of the rural population is, more than 50% is engaged in agriculture and agri-allied services. Then he went on to build institutions of the poor. He said the poor cannot be handled one by one. We'll build institutions, we'll register them, we'll form companies, we'll give them the IT platform, we'll give them all the inputs on how to manage the books and manage finance and help them to stand on their own feet. So he did a lot on the area of institution development. Then he started partnering banks as a BC, business correspondent. And then he set up a livelihood school where he said that whatever are the learnings from the ground, I must document it and take it to the rest of the country and the rest of the world. And then we basically decided to partner with Government of India in delivering government to citizen services. We run about 6,000 outlets for the government here. And now we've started partnering corporates under the CSR or even otherwise in taking some of the urban products and services to rural India. So today what is the situation? We have a customer who's getting multiple services from us. Financial services, And there we have two entities, Bharatiya Samruddhi Finance Limited and KBS Bank. One is a microfinance entity, the bank, they're serving them there. We have a training and extension services where you have the livelihood school, the Basics Academy for livelihood and microfinance practices, and BABLE, Basics Academy for building lifelong employability, building up capacities and providing vocational training and such services. Then we developed a vertical, this was not a dedicated company, but institution development services. So for instance, ASIFA became the world's largest not-for-profit women-owned organization, where they had outstandings at one time of 150 crores. This was brought up by Mr. Mahajan. ASIFA is based out of Chennai, and they work in 5 or 6 states now. And then we decided that we will provide consulting services to NGOs. We will get into carbon credit application for the poor. We were the first to monetize them for the poor. We've done some of the largest deals in carbon credit for the bottom of the pyramid in the world. We have also were the first to get into voice recognized mobile banking services. So people who cannot write, who cannot use a thumb because it's cut, they need voice recognition facility. We were the first to launch a withdrawal from the bank through a voice biometrics. So one speaks on the mobile and you are able to, you are authorized to withdraw money from the bank. So, and we also got into energy inclusions. All these companies today are, and then we have Bharatiya Krishi Samruddhi Limited, BKSL, which is taking care of all the inputs and outputs for the farm and the non-farm sector. So we are into financial inclusion, we are into banking inclusion, we are into energy inclusion, we are into social inclusion, we are into economic inclusion, we are into governance inclusion, we are into digital inclusion, and so on and so forth. We are trying to bring all this under one roof. We started with microcredit, and when we discovered that microcredit is not having the impact that it should. In fact, I don't know, I think I missed one slide. I missed this slide. We discovered that we engaged Indian Market Research Bureau and we asked them what has been the impact of our microcredit on our customers who were with us for 3 years or more. And they said, when they studied it, they said only 48% have not benefited, the remaining have benefited. And this 48% people who have not benefited was real shock to us. And that's when we realized that money alone will not help. You need to supplement it with quite a few other things. So if you give them money, they should know how to use it for their livestock, they must know how to use it for their crop. If you don't give them the domain knowledge, they may not benefit. And then you have to mitigate their risk. There may be floods, there may be death in the family. How do you take care of that? So that's why we decided to set up a whole range of financial inclusion services. We decided to form institutions of the poor. We also got into agriculture and livestock and enterprise development services to connect the producer, the micro-enterprise entrepreneur, to markets. And for this is an institution building, we did this work for ASIFA. We've done for over 100 NGOs. In the last 2 years, we formed 150 farmer producer companies. Each farmer producer company has got a minimum 500 farmers. We are mobilizing them. We formed a company. We formed a board of directors. We are now providing better inputs and better output linkages. So there's a whole lot that we are doing under the livelihood triad strategy. And but this is not enough, and that's why we decided to get into a range of services. And now the model that we are working on is a model known as Pathway Out of Poverty, designed by CGAP. CGAP is Consultative Group for Assisting the Poor, as well as by BRAC. This is the Bangladeshi NGO, the biggest one. Now what they are saying is that the poor has to cross 2 milestones, the chronic food insecurity line and the poverty line. Now for the chronic food insecurity line, we have a whole lot of schemes like National Food Security Program or the Manrega and so on. This is where organizations like us can only facilitate, the organizations which are sitting on the ground. But beyond that, we need to give them microfinance so that they can start their own micro enterprises. There are only 2 ways out of poverty. One is self-employment and the other is wage employment. Since wage employment has limited potential, we need to help people to start their own enterprise and be self-employed. And that's when we give them working capital, microcredit. We help them to acquire an asset. It may be a sewing machine, it may be a vegetable push cart, and then we increase their working capital and help them to come above poverty. Normally, an economically active person can come out of poverty in 5 years. I believe in Bangladesh it takes 7 years. And here in Bangladesh, they've touched on more than 80% of the poor. In India, we've hardly touched 20%. So we have still a long way to go. But this is the pathway out of poverty that we are following. Now here you need partnership of the government, of the banks, the technology solution providers, of NGOs like sitting on the dais here, and everybody has to come together and work in a focused manner. So today, Basics, trying to be an inclusive growth provider, organizes the poor, build institutions, provide financial services, strengthens the dairy and the non-farm and the farm sector, brings environment sustainability. We look at new livelihoods. For instance, with Essilor, who make the lens, we have created a package. In 2 months' time, we create a barefoot optician. We have been asked by Essilor to have 5,000 barefoot opticians, 2,400 in UP, another 4,000 in Rajasthan. Now the idea is, with 60 days training, they can open a shop in a village and they can check the eye, they can provide spectacles, and if they can, if they find that somebody's got a serious eye problem, they can recommend him to a particular hospital. Now these eye mitras are today earning, within 1 month of their training, they start earning 500 to 1,000 rupees net profit every day. Similarly, we are working with Schneider Electric and Panasonic on creating a new cadre, new livelihoods in rural India called Urja Mitras. Similarly, we are working with mobile mitras. We are working with Eureka folks on creating a Panika doctor. So these are new livelihoods that we are trying to create in this thing. So that's the vocational, adding new livelihoods in services sector. Then vocational skill training, as I said, inclusive value chains, providing linkages, input and output linkages. Alternate sources of energy, a lot of work we have done. We are working in slum clearance, not as much as Dr. Pathak has done. Micro home solutions, we create, we break down the houses and we build new ones, and we've done it in Mongolpuri here, and delivering government services across 6,000 outlets, and business to citizen services across those 6,000 outlets, banking to citizen services across 10,000 outlets. So there is a lot that we are trying to do. I would have like to give a story on each one of them. I'm stopping here for the moment, and I want you to, there's a summary. I'm leaving this PowerPoint presentation that I've done. We have incubated a lot of companies here to deliver all this. I'm leaving this on your laptop here. You could go through each one of them, because I've already exceeded the time. May I now, I'll move in to show you this film if I can. This interview, so that your own student is visible to you.